Two Dope Dudes, bringing you the news, leading you to much success with all their insightful views. Do you grow yourself or buy from the top shelf? Are you here to take the reins and gain back your health? Whatever it is, you know the biz. Leave a like, crack a pipe, and let's get on with it. If you want to acquire the knowledge, you don't have to go to college. You can just come hang with Aaron and Dave.
Welcome to the Elevated News Podcast with Two Dope Dudes. We're a podcast focused on discussing local and national cannabis news and culture. I'm Aaron.
And I'm Dave.
What's up, buddy?
Not a whole lot. How are you, brother?
Dude, I'm doing okay. I'm starting to get everything unpacked, and it's great.
There you go.
I feel accomplished.
There you go.
Sometimes you just got to start and do a thing.
You know, I was literally just having a great conversation with a man about that. Just take the initiative sometimes to get some shit done.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. There's a lot to be bitched about, but there's also way more work to be done. So we should just get to work, you know?
Yeah. What have I said before? If it is to be, it's up to me.
Oh, I love that too.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yep. It's a great one. I'm lucky to have known the person who said it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I respect it.
Yeah. How's checking in on the industry? How is it?
It's good. It's not good. You know, it's both. Some people are struggling, brother.
You know, I've heard that. I somebody that I know contacted me and was asking about some stuff, and I heard it's rough out there right now.
Oh, it's tough out there for a pimp, bro. Well, I mean, when there's a lot to unpack there, we probably have unpacked it a million times before.
Yeah.
But yeah, like we're not growing by
Leaps and
exponential
bounds.
amounts of money. We're growing by small increments, maybe $100 million or so a year, which is big money to some, but in an industry that is, you know, has thousands of, maybe at this point, tens of thousands of employees.
Yeah.
We are, we're not there, right? And it's a few, even of the big players are struggling.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that this takes a concerted effort from the entirety of the constituents of Illinois, not just the medical or the recreational or the license or the hemp or the but I think it takes a effort from all of us to go, hey, listen, you're being foolish and you're allowing way too much money to escape over to Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not that like they don't know. They definitely
they definitely know
this is happening. So why not take the opportunity to, one, leave all of your constituents far more legally operating, right? Because we know that sending them through Indiana is nothing more than a fucking trap.
Right.
But then two, like, why wouldn't you benefit yourself instead of sending hundreds of millions of dollars plus all of whatever that tax revenue is over to Michigan? Why wouldn't you just allow that to happen here?
Because you're operating on the idea that the state is a well-functioning thing right now. And
No.
it is not and has not been and probably will not be for a long time. If the state was something like that, then it could be concerned about that. But right now it's only concerned about trying to stay afloat or to at least appear like it is staying afloat.
Good luck.
Good luck. Yeah, for sure. Good luck.
Yep. And that's why I was talking to somebody who has some authority and knows some shit and is in places of power, and even to them, the logic is just lacking, right? Like they're very in the loop of things, and like, what do you do? It's so far out of our hands at a certain point. But we also, this is why, like, I think that normalizing the speech around this thing is so important, and why I go on rants of the way that I do is because if we all speak about it the same way and we all have the same understanding that you and I do of it, and it's not just you and I, right? Like there's a lot
Right.
more people who are smart to this, and it's not just cannabis folk, like
Right.
it's the state folk that are
Right.
very aware of it. It's
Right.
like we're all in the same boat that there is massive failures in this industry, and it heavily stems from the taxation without representation.
Yep. Well, I mean that ties more into what the state actually is and the situation that the state is in. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? In regards to old pension debts and stuff that's unobtainable and just was can't get out of. You know what are you going to do? That's why we have all these sin taxes in
Oh, you know
Illinois.
what? The toll system was supposed to go away.
Sure, sure. I mean, and we can talk about daily and the parking stuff. I mean, it goes back to just a way that politics is done in Illinois. Like I'm
Okay.
not trying to turn it into that.
No, no, no. But
I'm not trying to turn
to-
this podcast into like a boring political podcast about what the state is. It's just like, but let's be real. Like the
in
state doesn't.
conjunction to what we're speaking on, though, it
Right,
doesn't
right.
benefit anybody at this point. It's not
Fair.
benefiting anybody but the big players, right?
Right.
Like and even then, this is what I'm telling you is the big players are now suffering. So who the fuck is actually benefiting at the end of this? And there's not a lot.
No, nobody. And what's going to happen is that, it will probably stagnate. We haven't had any new movement on anything since legalization, since 2020. We've done nothing in the last 5 years. Nothing.
No, they finally came out with the rules for the 2020 or the administrative code or whatever.
Yeah.
They
The
finally
J
came out
car
with the
stuff. Yeah.
regs that they wanted us to follow for fucking the rules that they implied in 2020.
Right.
In
Right.
at the end of 24.
Right.
They're there. They're getting there.
I mean, how long did it take for us to get the disparity study?
What was the word? Oh, nascent. It's finally nascent, dude.
This-
After 10 years of
I have
it's a nascent industry. We're finally picking up. Little momentum behind it. But that's funny as hell is that that's what they're going to write as the state
yeah.
and go, okay, this thing's finally nascent, but then they change nothing.
Right.
In fact, they tighten down on some shit, make it a little bit harder. Let's see if we could tax you a little bit more on this one.
Yeah. I mean, it's yeah. It's the state, but you are right. In fact, and I want to add on to what you were saying. Normalizing the talk about it is important, and it's good that there are people who remember what the prohibition was all about, who understand what the current prohibition against cannabis is, and the fact that we're out there talking about it. Our disc golf friend from down by Joliet actually mentioned that to me last week. Yeah, they were really excited and they were glad that people were out there talking about it, and they were thanking us for it, which is why I'm telling you so you get to share in the great feedback from
Oh yeah, and
one of our disc golf
I think
friends.
like both you and I have also said it for a long time. Like I think that I will continue to do this, whether there's somebody
Yeah.
talking to me or listening to me or nothing. Like to me, this is actually a worthwhile conversation to have.
Mhm.
It's worthwhile for us to talk about, and that's I had a great conversation with with my security guard
Yeah.
at work today.
Nice.
Yeah, we were talking about this too, though. How I don't know, man. We're a lot of things need to change. That's it.
Yeah.
We'll put in the effort, though. I'm not gonna bitch about it. I'm just gonna try and be about it. I will continually because I believe in this thing. I'll do it because I think that it's right. I don't
Right.
need affirmation. I'm not
Right.
trying to get anybody to thumbs up or like or sell a fucking ad revenue or I
Yep.
don't give a flying none of
Exactly.
that matters to me.
Right.
I honestly only care to normalize the speak around this thing because we're being foolish with how we represent what otherwise could arguably be the individual greatest contribution medically that
Hmm.
we have from anything, plant, fucking, it doesn't matter. Its medical benefits drastically outweigh those of
Hmm.
others, with also the negatives that come with it, right? How
Right.
much harm can the same thing cause? And we, uh it's, I don't I listen,
No, you're
I
right. And
literally was just
we
talking
have
to
the
somebody.
opportunity to and I'm speaking to everybody, we as a people, to influence and take part in what is the greatest thing that we can do for our health and for ourselves. That's available to us, that the government still hasn't eradicated and outright banned. We're seeing it in our lifetime, whether it's as somebody who works in the industry, or somebody who's passionate about it, or a grower, or somebody who uses it. Like this is what we can grasp in our lifetime to like do and
Yeah.
to have influence over. And so it's important. I agree.
Yeah. 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 I
Yeah.
watched somebody today. I actually talked to somebody it was yesterday about an opiate overdose that happened within their family.
Hmm.
And I said, yeah, I completely understand and I get it. And what do you know why they started using opiates? And they said, yeah, I do. I said, was it because of the medical world? And they said, yeah, it was. I said, damn, that's kind of fucked up. They had a back pain, a little bit of back pain,
Yeah.
a little back pain into an addiction of something that can cause death within, and I don't know what the time frame is, but the way that they were speaking on it was that the person was far too fucking young to be dying from um opiates. But and it also too, it started in one place and it spiraled into something else, right? Like that was a whole scare with cannabis forever. It's the gateway. It's a gateway. And it's like, but it never really has been.
Right.
Cannabis was never really the gateway to,
Shit. To
maybe every
sitting
once in
on
a
the
while.
couch and giggling at Adult Swim, maybe, or
I'm going to
playing
tell you,
Goldeneye.
if
I
anything, cannabis is a gateway to psychedelics, right?
Sure.
It's not a gateway into
It's a ga- it's
opiates,
it's a gateway
narcotics,
into opening your mind.
a
That's
hundred,
what it is. It's a
and,
gateway into opening your mind.
and
Yeah.
of the things that we are probably both assuming as the psychedelics that I'm speaking of.
Hmm.
Go look at the fucking mortality rates of those as well. Go
Sure.
look at what on the LD50 it takes for you to overdose on one of those comparatively to what it takes you to overdose on the things that we are giving women who are giving birth. Like in the moment, and I get it, painful and fucking
Yeah.
whatever. You and I will never understand the fuck it. I get that. But we're talking about giving the same things that you and I constantly fight against as the scary devils, the things
Right.
that are literally killing tens of thousands of people a year. We give them to pregnant women
Hmm.
at the moment of birth.
Yeah.
Well, oh my god, bro, we're wild, dude. And to all,
Well, I think medicine is like politics in that it moves very slow.
yeah,
So, while
yeah.
I understand, it's still it's kind of like don't let perfect become the enemy of good. So, like, is it the best option? Maybe not, but it is the best option that we understand the risks for.
Let me also stop by real quick, backtrack for a moment,
Just
and
playing
say
devil's advocate.
I don't believe that cannabis is the alternative to some of the things that they administer to women during childbirth, right? I don't think that that's it. But
Yeah,
I'm telling you that some of the shit that we are using is fucking scary. And
sure.
like this much of a miscalculation ends in double homicide.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean?
I mean, but that's a lot of things too.
But and then we
That's a
go,
lot of
oh, you
things
know
too.
what? Not double homicide. medical malpractice, or and half the times it's not even a malpractice. It's just a fucking whoopsie daisy complications. And that's like it's fucking hard for me. I don't really, we're all gonna have to meet that moment where
Yeah.
it's the shit or get off the pot, right?
Yeah.
But when it comes to taking care of your health and the intimidation that is presented to folks from the beginning on what health is from the beginning, and the lack of actually educating anybody,
Sure.
right? There's all of that goes on, but um yeah, yeah, I don't know, man. I hope that at some point, just in logical statistical numbers alone, we look at the things that we allow people to consume that cause great rates of death, and then we look at this thing that we've kept criminalized for a very long time, and we go, whoa, like, why? None of it makes any sense. And yeah, anyway, that's just my
Absolutely.
rant about cannabis. Always just normalize it, man. Talk
Yeah.
about it more. Get to the point where everybody is on the same page and understands
Yeah.
that the mortality rate or the addiction rate or the fucking overdose rate that is caused by cannabis is way less. Yeah.
I agree.
For the same symptom alleviation at the end of the day.
Well, that's why you got to take your health back into your own hands. That's why you got to grow your own. And those are the two things that are our real mission. It's not revenue. It's not, free samples. It's take your health back in your own hands. Learn how to grow your own medicine. Period. You know. Speaking of that, let's do some plugs real quick.
Plug it up.
We'll do plugs real quick. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all your other favorite streaming and podcast apps. Two Dope Dudes YouTube channel. Please give us a like, leave a review. This helps us reach more people. You can find us at supportdopepeople.com, along with links to any other stuff we do and stickers just by providing your email and address. Dave?
Thursday nights, what are you doing? Come hang out with me. Right about in this kind of framing.
Yeah.
I hang out here on Thursday night, YouTube, Peace, Love, and Cope on YouTube, and you can interact with me directly. If you've got a question about cannabis, if you would like to know how I think you can help take your health back in your own hands, I'm right here for you, my friends.
Yep. And if you have questions about growing, I'm usually there.
That's the truth. We do have a lot of industry folk who come through, both from a lot of different aspects of the industry as well. So if you have any questions on cannabis as a whole, I think really we've done a great job of putting a panel of people. The people that come in there every single day are really actually quite knowledgeable in the realm of cannabis. And if they weren't, they probably wouldn't say much to begin with. But like, we got quite a few intelligent folk in there.
And a couple knuckleheads too.
Oh, I love the knuckleheads.
Yeah, I know you do.
Yeah.
Hey, let's go through comments real quick. Shout out. Mom said, good to see you back. Macho Graham said, we're back, bitches. And then, Macho Grams, my homie. I love that dude.
I do love Macho. I love your mom too. She's great.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're supposed to say that, but I do.
No, my mom's pretty cool. I know it. And then, let's see, live chat. Shout out Meme Green, new person, El Canna, SC, Cole Memo, Chi-Town Hi-Fi.
And awesome.
Steve-O, saw him at Sessions on Saturday.
Yeah, Chi-Town's been coming and hang out with me
on Thursdays. Yeah,
Thursdays. Yeah, we got some cool people coming in on Thursdays now.
Man. Yeah, Sheriff Saggy Pants himself, Gary Cornett.
There he is.
Yes, sir. And yeah, that was it. It was a good time.
Yeah, super cool.
Shout out to people in the chat. We're happy that you're happy we're back.
I'm pumped to be back too. I did miss it.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
I
me
miss
too.
talking about this stuff all the time. I mean, I do it on Thursday nights sometimes, but it's not the same because you're actually like organized about some shit. You got some structured shit put together.
Yeah.
Me,
You
off
just
the wall.
freeform. Yeah, it was worse when you were doing it 5 days a week. You were freeform for 5 days a week. That was a little
Well, for
nuts,
the
though.
first about 2 or 3 months, there was some things that I was getting done prior to,
Sure.
and then after that, I was like, "Prah, just talking, baby,
Yeah, just talking.
just
You and
talking."
Tim Dillon.
Yeah, yeah.
Very few people can like keep it going. You know what I mean? Like just talking to yourself for multiple hours. That's crazy. I
I
can't
do.
do it.
Yeah, I do feel like a cuckoo sometimes.
That's why I always said you should get on Twitch. You should get
Yeah.
on Twitch and do the songwriting.
Oh, I
But
know.
you missed it. You missed a window. You had to jump fast.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. It's cool. Shout out Macho out there making theme songs for people too.
Is he?
Yeah.
Nice. Love
Yeah.
it.
Hey, I got a couple things. I know we were mostly what's changing in the industry and or laws this year, but I had one that has to do with Mars Wrigley that we talked about early episode, and I
Oh
wanted
yeah.
to touch on because it's funny. So Mars Wrigley has filed another motion alleging a California cannabis company it's settled with the trademark infringement is in violation. They came to an agreement in 2023 for the cannabis seller to end the use of Skittles, Zkittles, or similar terms it used for cannabis-related sales. And now it's saying that Terphogz has not complied with the permanent injunction the two parties agreed on in the Chicago federal court. So basically, Wrigley is mad because people are still using Skittles and Zkittles.
Yeah.
And they're asking them to pay $1,000 a day until they come into a compliance. The other funny thing is that if you watched JB Pritzker in his hemp battle speech, he actually used the term Skittles, and he's like, "This is what's wrong with the hemp industry. It looks like candy." Blah 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 blah.
Shut up.
Yep. So I saw that and I was like, hey, this is actually kind of funny. He goes, some of these products, if you ever see them, it'll say Skittles on the front with a Z, and they're not Skittles like the ones you know, but rather this intoxicating hemp. So I don't know. Wrigley's mad
Whatever.
about that.
Well,
Wrigley's mad about cannabis genetics. Like, what are you going to do?
literally. Yeah. And because of the use of a word.
Right.
Yeah. Like it doesn't mean the same thing. And I get it. Now, if you want to argue the person who used your logo, your brand,
Sure.
your everything, like on
Well,
board. But the people who call it that, like, what are we gonna fucking? I don't know. Is Alaska gonna come down and be like, anybody who says Alaska Thunderfuck is out, you're
I
gonna pay
mean,
us money,
if,
referee?
I mean, this just gets more into like copyright law and how it has to be
Yeah.
defended in the United States. As far as like trademarks, it's dumb that they have to do that. Terphogz probably shouldn't have made packaging and commercialized whatever it was that they were selling. They're the ones who got fucked, but I mean, what are you gonna do?
Well, and that's just it, right? Like, fuck, fuck around and find out.
Fuck around and find out.
You know what I
I
mean?
don't know.
Like, if you didn't think that that was going to come up and bite you in the ass, you're smart enough to figure that out. And once they said stop fucking doing it, if you didn't stop doing it, you got all the way to the point where they had to make a lawsuit about it, bro.
Yeah.
You are pushing a bear. You are poking somebody who's got way more money than you. And at some point, well, that's exactly it. It's like now Mars probably has way more money to be petty about this shit than any cannabis company will ever imagine to be. So, unfortunately, cannabis companies, you've lost it. You will not win this battle, I would not imagine.
I mean, yeah.
No. But I don't know how the hell they get away with telling people not to use the word Zkittles.
Well, Terphogz is allowed to say the original Z, but they're not. I don't know.
Yeah, a lot of
It's
people put
like the
like
Streisand effect.
ZKZ now.
Well,
Like,
that's because Z terps are like the fucking Z-Terps won Cannabis last year, and Z-Terps is like the soap that everybody is like. I've grown that glitters. That's soap.
Yeah,
Like everybody's on the Z-Terps right now.
go ahead. Like I said, I means nothing to me. Deconstruct it. Give me some Burger King. Have it your way. You know,
It's
baby.
it's the next Girl Scout cookie. It's the next Sunshine whatever.
Blue
It's the next.
Dream. Let's just take it
No,
back. We
like
go
not
OG.
even Blue Dream. Like literally, it's the next Girl Scout cookies.
Well, yeah,
It's the next Sunday Driver.
yeah.
It's
Touche.
the next.
Okay.
Okay, you know,
Okay.
like
Yeah, touche.
right.
GMO.
Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, I get it. But that's the whole thing. Like, somebody asked me today about names, and I was like, back in the day, it actually mattered. Like,
Yeah.
to a degree, at least,
Yeah.
because it at least showed you some lineage of things, right? But now, like, and I've been preaching it forever, it is not what you grow, it is who grew it. So
Sure.
if you know how to do that well, you will produce a decent product. And regardless if it's Zope or Skittles or GMO or OG or whatever, it doesn't really matter what the type it is. If you're not good at it, you're not going to produce a quality product. And that's why I think the for all of us across the board, the consensus is like we just want quality. Um, you know, more I'd rather have quality than quantity.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the problem right there. Is it's quality over quantity, and like whatever strain it is tells you nothing because everything's a derivative off of Girl Scout cookies right now anyway, and Northern Lights, and whatever.
Well, okay, so like if you ever like really trace back the lineage, because it starts really, I think like once Cindy 99 kind of came around,
Sure.
it broke from there, right? Because well,
Also, Z
in
terps are not Zope. I misspoke. It's more like a fruity terp anyway.
that's fine. I
Yeah.
don't, and that don't, yeah. Like I
Yeah.
said, to me, it don't really matter.
It's like a grape lineage, I think.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know, man. I it's not again what it is. It's who did it, and when,
100%. Who's doing it good right now?
where at, what space.
Illinois.
There's a few. I mean, honestly, there's some players that are, and even on the big player scale of things, I think there are some people that are doing it far better than some others, right? And they are the drivers of price compression in our state, which isn't a bad thing as the consumers, right? But they're also the drivers of price compression because they realize that the consumer just isn't going to blow astronomical amounts of something on something that is also just a
Well,
recycling system,
that's
right?
because the consumer understands that most of your pre rolls are floor sweepings.
Well, and that's okay. So,
Like,
like in Michigan,
sure.
okay, because we have this market to compare and contrast against very steadily, and a lot of folks who even would listen to us probably have been to Michigan and
Sure.
experienced that
I
market.
hope so. Please go to Michigan, spend some money.
In
Make sure to go to the beach.
The only thing that I will tell you is that the regulations are worse, right? Some of the but what arbitrary numbers have any of our regulations been made up off of? At least I can tell you that most of the time in Michigan still they followed the FDA or the DEA or one of these fucking three letters parameters of how much you should have of mold or whatever, and they that's kind of where they try to sit, right? Where in Illinois we went, holy shit, we're just going to make all of these really tight arbitrary numbers and you shouldn't have mold, right? Like you wouldn't want that, but in the
Correct.
minuscule parts per million there's a better chance that it just happens, right?
Sure.
And when we're talking about 50 ppm or 5 ppm.
Do you know why they have those? Do you know why they have those? Because they really don't want you growing outside.
Well, but listen, and that's all I'm trying to tell you, brother, is that with that, we understand that the 50 ppm is what OSHA or fucking the DEA or the FDA allows you to eat on all of the food that you're fucking consuming every day.
So you're saying that the disty carts are dirtier in Michigan than they are in Illinois?
By about,
A
depending
million
on what
miles.
you're
Do you
talking,
remember the carts that we used to get before this stuff was legal? Do you
100%.
remember it was like $25 1 gram carts?
100%.
How dirty and disty dusty do you think that cannabis was?
Well, and
I'm just
who made it is
who
really matter.
knows? Who
Well,
did you
because
ask?
well, but brother, this is the whole thing, is that you can actually refine trash into actual gold if you do it well.
Sure.
It slightly matters what you put into it, but also it doesn't, right? Because you can literally put bug infested, mite
Yeah.
infested trash through this fucking thing. And because you are only
Sure.
capturing at certain moments in time different molecules,
Yeah.
and you're only extracting for and filtering for certain molecules, you won't have the bug guts if you do the refining the proper
Sure.
ways. Distillation is literally moonshining. It is to kill everything that is
Mhm.
inside of there and to leave almost the essence of whatever the initial product is. And the
Right.
reason we boil everything and we do everything the way that we do and pull vacuums on everything is to get all of that other trash out of there.
Correct. Right.
And that they are cleaning this product no matter what it is, right? But if you're good at cleaning this product, you can have a far better,
Yeah.
and your product putting into it doesn't have to be this drastically quality thing, right? Like it can actually be floor swept garbage, and
Yeah.
you can actually pull gold back out of it. That's why I tell you, cannabis is just a big recycling system, right?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I get it.
The only product that it's hard to say should have a scale of like, it's raw flour, right? Like actual flour, not raw flour, but cured flour, but
Sure.
properly, I would say naturally cured, organic, whatever. All
Yeah.
of these things matter if it's done well,
Yeah.
right? And at that point, then once you've been the nicest to the plant, you've been
Fresh rosin actually matters done well.
bingo.
Other than that,
Once you've done that,
I know people who go and buy lots of shake just to cook with because that's what they should do.
But that's what I'm saying. The quality difference is only in what I just said. You can
Right.
only get a quality difference out of input to the plant, right? And like how we manicure and groom the fucking plant to grow.
Sure.
And then past that, it's like, okay, so if the difference is quality product that actually takes more attention and whatever, and we can maybe get away with 400, 500, 600, some people are getting away with some of that per zip. There's on the low end of that. What's the fucking floor, right?
There are definitely people that are getting 400, 500, 600 a zip right now. Yes.
Oh, 100%.
1,000,000%. And it is 100% worth it.
But that's
Very
what I'm saying.
likely.
So then, too, is the stuff that is coming out of some of these dispensaries that cost the exact fucking same that we're talking about. And everybody would go, okay, so if that's the high end of the product, it's not like there should be some scale above that. That's where the quality stops at, right? In extraction, there can be more quality product that's put into it and more quality refining processes that come out of it. But if you're a quality refiner, give me the absolute bottom barrel trash garbage bullshit, and I can probably make you some gold out of it, depending on what you're trying to do. If you're trying to make some of these live or rosins or whatever it is, solventless extracts, where again you took that refining process that is to grow the thing really well, and then you just took it on another scale to extract it really well.
Right.
Okay, so that's where your big quality differences should come, but like distillation to rosin should be a difference, right?
Sure.
Distillation to distillation is the fucking same. No matter
Yeah.
where you're at, in Illinois, in fucking Michigan, in whatever, the product that you're putting into it is still a distilled product. It's only your refining process then,
Correct.
right? Because if you're bad at refining, you're going to deliver some shit at the end. You did not clean that the proper way.
Right.
You don't have the recycling systems that would require you to clean that the proper way. You didn't put the proper solvents into it. Whatever it is that actually pull that thing out of there and leave you with a raw distilled product. But that's like the whole thing is distillate is almost a market in a thing of its own because that's to a degree. That's most edibles, that's most
Mhm.
carts, that's
Mhm.
most, but just any
Pills.
process. What's that?
Yeah. Pills. Remember
Oh,
when
yeah,
they made
the
pills?
capsules and if you were going to have suppositories, if you were going to have anything that you're infusing, generally, or you should be infusing it with a distillate. And it's not because you shouldn't be using live resin to infuse things or rosin to infuse things, because people do that. From my perspective, if you want my honest to God perspective, we're, w- those processes are probably better left for methods of inhalation and maybe not through the edible. And there's people that'll argue me back and forth and tell me, well, no, these ones hit harder or whatever. Yeah, it's because the distillate that you got is garbage. It's because the live resin that they put in those other gummies is garbage. If you get a good live resin gummy, you get a good distillate gummy, and you get a good live rosin gummy or a rosin gummy, and they all are 100 milligrams of THC, you
Mhm.
should theoretically get the exact same effects. And everybody said, well, there's more terps in one, there's more whatever. But is there to a degree, right? Live resin has more terps, if that's what we're saying, because that's what the process is refined for, is to pull terps out of it. Where rosin is presumed to be just more of a whole plant experience, to leave it intact as much as you can and be direct, just whatever the essence of that plant is, that's what you're going to get. Where live resin, you're almost extracting it for THC, but you're also, you know, that that's what you want, but you're just trying to save as much terps as you can through that process, right? So it's just the process that ends up mattering. And like, if you do all of these things well, you should have retained proper cannabinoids. You should have retained proper terpenoids. You should not have retained any fucking excess plant fats, molds, any of the excess, right?
Wash your indoor too.
What's that?
I said wash your indoor too, kids.
Well, yeah, yeah. Well, and that's just it. Is I think there's I'm not the grower, right? I only care about the end delivered product, and I can, from personal experience, if I'm unable to tell you the difference between rosin, resin, distillate, whatever, in an edible form, and I'm somebody who actively tries to like sit in this and try to experience it, and I've eaten every different form of edible. I got, plenty now that I could try different
Same.
forms of, and whatever. It's just why it's
Yeah.
you know
Oh,
um
I had one from our buddy Carp the other day. It was really good. Some people are making really good edibles, man.
But that's what I'm saying. If you're doing it good, you're just doing it good. And
Hmm.
for us at the end consumer, if you're going to put a live resin, a rosin, or a distillate into your infusions, you're trying to sell something to the consumer, and the consumer has to buy into something at the same time.
Like
As far
hops
as
infused
efficacy
pre
goes,
rolls or
what's that?
hops infused pre rolls or blunts
Well,
or
not, yeah. We're getting to a whole, yeah. But that's just it. Is like, can't this is why it kills me, and this is why I say normalize the speech around it, because cannabis is a true, real,
Mhm.
mathematically provable thing. All of the things we're trying to do to cannabis to make it something different and to sell it to the consumer as
That's
something
marketing.
different, so that my method of consumption, or my whatever, like the truth of methods of consumption is, what category is it? Truth of your cannabinoids is which ones are you doing, maybe not what the percentage of the thing is, right? How much of that thing do you actually need to do to get to where you're comfortable? And if you're telling me it's based off of a percentage, let's just do a math equation then and find out how much it would actually take you, whether it's distillate or live resin or flour or edibles or whatever, because there is a math behind what you would need to consume to get the benefit that you're seeking. And if,
And
like, go ahead.
is there a general math formula for that?
For what?
For figuring that out? If somebody wanted to figure out what that formula was, what would
Of
they?
course,
Okay.
decarboxylation is at a 0.87. It's 0.87. Okay, it's 87% of the molecule is intact after decarboxylation. After the carbon atom that falls off from decarboxylating THCA into THC, we have a leftover of 87% of that. So if the raw volume is, uh, you know, um, what can I do quick math on? 10%, let's call it. Okay, just for
Okay.
simple math
Sure.
terminology. THCA says 10% on it. You go set that thing on fire, you have 8.7% THC. All right. The A has dropped into THC. So if we have 1 gram of that, right,
Hmm.
that's 1,000 milligrams, and then 8% of that is fucking 87 or whatever it is, right? So to get to your comfort zone, if you need to consume that whole entire gram of cannabis, you
Hmm.
need 87 milligrams of THC to get yourself to that level of comfort, if it's only THC that we're trying to consume.
Okay.
But if it, but then that's again going against the idea that this is a whole plant experience, the entourage effect, the idea that we both know that terpenoids add as much benefit and effect to
Hmm.
this thing as any of the rest of the cannabinoids do. So there's a lot more going on, and that's why when I'm saying, like, people are like, well, I need this one or that one or the whatever. Why do you want that over the other thing? Like,
Sure.
if the Wonder Laugh gummies are the best thing, why? What's inside of it? Is it limonene? Is it added caffeine? Is it just the THC percentage, right? Like, because there's, or
Is
THC
it?
numbers.
Is it psychosomatic? Is it in their head?
But there's another huge aspect of this that it would take a lot of dissecting, right? But like, on the surface, at least we can mathematically prove some of the things that we're doing, right? And
Sure.
that's, yeah.
That's the important thing.
Yeah, having a having a consistency, having a baseline, right, where we can all agree that this is what is doing it for me, right? And if everybody wants to hunt THC, hey, listen, the answer is 87% of
Hmm.
the THCA number, okay? And then just 1 gram is 1,000 milligrams,
Right.
okay? Now you just do the math on that. So,
Math's
yeah,
hard. I hate math. That's why I'm not a scientist because I don't like math.
it's just remembering that one equation, but then also how do we implement that equation into a couple different spots? And I've been talking to a couple different um patients of the state for years
Hmm.
because they cannot figure out the mathematics part of this. And
Yeah.
it's because, well, my THC percentage changed. What does that mean to me? And I'm going, well, but then you just multiply it by 87%, right? Like, it is just 0.87 of that. Well, so then how do I make sure that it's a 3 to 1? Well, it's like, well, now we've added a whole nother aspect of
Sure.
math into it, right? Well, I
Sure.
want 3 parts CBD to 1 part THC. Okay, well, that also had to stem from somewhere where we went, oh, it's all THC. Then we went, add CBD to it. Wait, add 2 parts CBD. Wait, add 3 parts CBD. Oh, I'm
Right.
finally getting the effects that I'm looking for. I'm finally getting the results, right?
Sure.
Or vice versa. It's like I got two, I'll add three, three's not working, add one here. And that's the other thing is, like, in trying to figure out what you need, there's
Yeah.
some math that needs to go on with it. And if you're not good
Yeah.
at math, which is perfectly fine, I'll help you. But like also
Yeah.
too, don't be intimidated by this because it is just one equation that
Sure.
needs to get looped onto a couple different
And
places.
it's especially important when you're talking about, say, kids and RSO and stuff
Bingo.
like that.
It's
Stuff
the
when
only
we're
reason I
talking
do
about,
it.
right, epilepsy, stuff like that,
It's the
which
only
is
reason I will
absolutely
still do
important.
math with you.
Yeah, 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 for sure. No, I
Well,
mean, I
that I
think it's
am doing.
important. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, like every single day, that's my whole thing is like, um, and this lady, I actually spoke with her about a week or two ago because we're out of the product that her daughter uses. And she's like, since you and this other doctor got introduced into this girl's life,
Hmm.
things have gotten so much better for her. Like
That's awesome.
the epilepsy has calmed down to, not even a tenth of what it used to be, right? And then like to see cognitive progression in somebody who is nonverbal and whatever is also huge for the people who are around them,
Yeah,
whatever, right?
absolutely.
This lady said, I will never. She said somebody else at another place tried to tell me how much I should take because I was in a pinch, and
Right.
I was in Michigan or something. I didn't answer
Yeah.
for like a day or two. So I was in a pinch. I needed to figure it out. Listened for 2 minutes and said, "You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Like you're trying to give this poor girl like more THC than she
Right.
needs, I think." And then anyway, long story short, um, proper math with this thing can do wonders for people,
Absolutely.
and to have something mathematical to cling to. Where for this lady, she just knows that, like I told you, the 3-to-1 math, right?
Sure.
How much parts CBD? Well, things have gone a little awry. What should we do? Well, I mean, do you want to increase CBD? Do you want to decrease THC? How do we make this so that you
Right.
feel like we're going to progress this and not hurt? You know what I mean?
Sure.
And that's the thing is sometimes, like at the beginning, it was like introduce THC. Oh, I don't know if we want to do that. I'm like, well, why not? Like, I don't see a problem with it. And the reason why I don't is because there is XYZ added benefit.
Hmm.
Um, and then the mom was like, okay, well, let me talk to her doctor about it. And the doctor said, listen, if that's what he thinks, what's the worst that can happen? And in the smallest amounts, we're talking about 2 milligrams of
You
something
sure.
at a time, right?
Right.
We're not talking about take 5, 10, 20, right? Which is
Right.
even, I think, small for me, right? But for some, it's mighty. But for somebody who's actually going through some of the very serious health conditions, why not introduce this thing and
Right.
see,
In
right?
small doses and see what happens.
And at the beginning, it was like, oh my God, night and day. Mood swings are so much less. There's just this immediate seeable. And then we're like, okay, great. Um, and then after a prolonged period of using the thing, we started to see a little bit less energy, maybe. We started to
Hmm.
see a little bit more um, excess appetite. Wasn't a bad thing at the time, kind of, but like just that
It
constant,
was a
like,
response.
and because you're nonverbal, you can't say, "Hey, I want something to eat." It becomes a and like
Yeah.
that's hard to get through. So like,
Sure.
can we slow that response down? Okay, well, let's try introducing THCV for a little bit, and let's see what that does for this.
Hmm.
And that's it. Like that math. Oh, I'll fucking be there for you forever because there is something else that it could be, right? And every
Sure.
time that like we close the door to something and maybe we open the door to another, or I'm also saying don't close doors to too many things because maybe you did it wrong at the beginning.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, we got about a few minutes left. Do you want to do Know Your Terps with Dave?
Yeah, hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
No, your terpenes.
That's gonna be the new thing.
Uh
Bam.
Bam. Welcome in.
Bam. Welcome
Uh
in.
I see that you have this, and we didn't talk about this at all, right? You wrote down Eucalyptol.
I did.
I
That's what I chose this
actually
morning.
What's that?
That's what I chose this morning.
I legitimately at work had a conversation with somebody about Eucalyptol directly, um, very, very recently.
That's awesome.
Yeah, she's big into terps, loves the terps. Let me talk to you about the terps. And brought up Eucalyptol to me. And I said, you want to know what? I don't know if off the top of my head I can produce to you the strains that are going to have that. And two, I might actually be behind on this. I don't know if I know the thing enough. So I actually literally within the last week have looked up what Eucalyptol was beneficial for. And I started to see some really cool things. One of my favorite things ever when we bring up cannabinoids or terpenoids is what it can benefit psychologically.
Right.
And especially when I speak psychologically, I think of the most affected in that space, which is somebody who has Alzheimer's or dementia, right? And when I started to look up some of these things, a lot of the words Alzheimer's and dementia started to come up as it being something. And I think if I'm not wrong, it carries kind of that eucalyptusy, a little bit
Minty.
maybe of a minty type of a
Sure.
thing. And we can all think of what those things are naturally beneficial for to begin with, too, right? We spoke on a couple of them recently, but like asthma would be something that would definitely benefit from something of um, uh, a eucalyptus type of thing. And we already use eucalyptus for things
Right.
of that nature, right? But then also too, it is an anti-inflammatory.
Yep.
It feels like a lot of these things that we are using, and think about it more on the Bengay type of things, right? That minty, hot, fresh,
Yep.
whatever. There is a anti-inflammatory response that comes along with that. And
Antibacterial too.
bingo.
Yeah.
And and that's just I mean insect repellents
Yeah.
or bug defense and shit, right? It's the same thing with limonene. It's the same thing with pine. Like
Plant
some of these
defense.
things. What's that?
Plant defense.
Bingo. Exactly.
It is a response from the plant defending itself against something that it deems as a threat genetically.
Bingo. And then we are consuming that and using it to then defend ourselves, right? From those
Right.
exact same things. So whether it is, any of the thing, including bug bites and stuff, right? You can
Bug bites and
literally
stuff.
use
Yeah,
cannabis.
absolutely.
Yeah. But Eucalyptol, man, it was really cool we did not even talk a word about it, but I was reading over your notes and I saw it. I'm like, there's no fucking way this guy picked it. Like
it was on the wheel, man. I was looking at the terp wheel and I was like, oh, what have we done? I was like, this is one we haven't done. And it's interesting.
It all literally got stemmed from something that I know you love genuinely. It came from somebody saying, I want a headband strain. And then the other person was like, well, what is even like headband? And then the girl was like, Eucalyptol. And I was like, I don't even know what the fuck you're talking about. And I don't even know what we have that's close to a headband right now. Like we're just guys, this
it's hard to get real good headband. I finally smoked the rest of my J Plant speaker headband not long ago.
I think, if I'm not wrong, I think ICC is bringing Illinois Collective.
Yeah.
Is bringing a headband to market.
Yeah, I know one of the cultivators over there, Danny.
Nice.
Yeah, he's one of the urban legend dudes. He's cool.
Nice. Hell yeah.
Yeah, he has good things to say about that Ben.
Good.
So he's like, I know all the Bens, and I like this Ben. And I was like, I'll take that as a compliment.
Oh yeah.
So, take it for whatever that means.
Yeah. Yeah. That's sweet. Well, hey.
Yeah. So they're going to bring back headband, or they are bringing back headband.
It's coming.
Yeah, they got some cool stuff.
It's either here or it's coming. Somebody was talking about it the other day.
Yeah, I wish them luck. I hope they capture the market that they're trying to capture. I know that there's some dispensaries going out of business and it's kind of a rough time right now. So.
Dude, people getting laid off.
Yeah.
It's
I know some cannabis like companies are not doing well. I'm sure the transporters are not doing well. I know some of the craft places are not doing well, unfortunately. There's
Well, and
people moving around and refiguring out partnerships, I think, is what I'm hearing.
Well, and this was the whole thing was like, well, get more access to certain things, right? Licenses, of course, being one of them, but like as many licenses as we could give out,
Yeah.
now they're failing, right?
Yeah.
Which doesn't leave a good look for
No.
more licenses going out anytime
Of
soon,
course not.
right?
I've been saying that forever. They're never going to issue more licenses. They've
Never.
made social equity the scapegoat and the barrier.
Yep. Yep. No, 100%. It's done. And like, why would you make more cultivation licenses if dispensaries are going out of business because there's not enough demand?
Right.
If people are going to Michigan to buy their supply to begin with, what, like, all of these things are literally like deterrents to these do-gooder pen pushers that fucking got a title somewhere, and now we're all like, yo, from a
We're over here trying to do good and you're just
business
letting the
standpoint,
market die.
yeah, yeah. They squeezed it so hard at the beginning that once they finally let their hands go a little bit, like it was almost like the opposite. He
That's why you're going
blew
to
it up.
see a push so hard against intoxicating hemp, because it is a way for people to actually profit, not a way for the state to profit.
Yeah, and that's why
Like,
the state's going to push against it. But
right.
the same lobbyists who were against it, we talked about this the other day, the same lobbyists who are against it are now the ones who will profit from it. So it sounds like good times for hemp, personally, if you ask me.
I hope it's great times for hemp. We'll see.
If the big players are starting to get involved, bro, you know what I mean? Well, is it just going to be give me a license? Well, a lot of our players, all of our boys, they got licenses and shit. They already got the licenses. Just get another fucking license, right? Like,
Right.
so as long as if everybody just got to enter the hemp space, it's going to be a tougher competition now
Sure.
because you're playing against some monsters. You're playing against brand recognition and people who are able to put these brands inside of not your local BP, right? Not your
Right.
local gas station or head shop.
Well,
These,
GTI tried to do that with 7-Eleven in Circle K in Florida. Not 7-Eleven, Circle K in Florida. GTI tried to do that.
yeah, they tried to get their dispensaries in there, though. They actually tried to partner up and have dispensaries share with it was a wild thing, but they are all working towards, including Kiva, including like all of them bigger name whatevers are working towards getting hemp products
Yeah.
inside of gas stations.
Absolutely.
Inside of and that's what I'm saying, like, for all of our friends who are already doing things in this space, it's going to get way tighter. It's going to suck, but you're going to have the right to do it, hopefully still for a while, right? Like,
Hopefully.
I don't see big players investing this much attention into doing something without it being something that they think is going to succeed or last.
I mean, William Morris is so invested in the marijuana space. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, they own way more shit than you think.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate, but
Yeah.
shit. Hey, great show tonight. Show 75. Let's go.
Oh, look at us.
I know, right?
We're
Remember
three-quarters of
when
the
I
way
said,
there.
hey, if we get 20 shows, we'll be great. We'll be
Yeah.
doing better than 99% of the podcasts out there.
Nice.
So,
Nice.
oh,
Well,
yeah.
God, I love this shit, dude. Thanks for
Oh, yeah.
asking me to do it.
Oh, dude, it's super fun. I wouldn't want to do it with anybody else.
Yeah,
Like,
man.
I tell everybody, you make it easy to do the pod.
I feel the exact same thing about you. I mean, you at least give me some points to talk about. I'll talk forever. I think everybody knows that, but you give me some points, and you're quite the knowledgeable folk yourself, man.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that.
Yeah, my friend.
All right.
All right, friends. Well, hasta next time. It's been
Yes,
a
sir.
pleasure.
Yeah.
See you all soon.
We love you all. Smoke weed every day.
Love you.
Peace.
Bye.
Yo, ding dong, we're done here. Time to go.